Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Imperial Holonet. I am joined by Nero Cole and Redlear Antilles, but I am also joined today by a very special guest, Mr. Jacob Carlson. Say hello.
Hello, people. What's going on?
And we are here to do some very special commentary on the first episode of The Flash. Somewhat spin off of Arrow, but then it became its own thing. And also mixed in with Arrow some more, from what I've heard. Um, So, should we say anything, or should we just get right into it?
Except for that, some of the Flash characters spawn off into Legends. I guess not, but I mean that didn't even happen until season two. So,
We have a long way to go. So, we are
hmm
starting with the first episode, the pilot. That is the name.
I
Um,
wish shows would actually give names to their
yeah, I
pilots.
hate how they do that.
Yeah.
Doctor Who actually just gave its latest episode a name, the pilot, even though it's not the pilot. Um, which is weird. Um, but get your DVDs, get your Netflix, get your however you're doing this, get your other means, and set your timestamp to 00000 and press play right now.
I think now might be a great time to ask this, Jacob. What is, for anyone who doesn't know this, what is your experience with the Flash?
Like just the TV show, or
Are you a big comic reader, or is the TV show what you base the fandom off of?
well, so I'm 19 and I started reading comics 3 years ago. Like buying comics. I've been reading comics pretty much my whole life, but I never went out and bought any until around the mid-season finale of The Flash's first season, so in December 2014. Um, and so this show, the first season, got me to buy Flash comics. And so I've read pretty much everything under the sun except for all of Mark Waid's run because Mark Waid's run is still coming out being collected in books.
Was this your first time being introduced to the character of the Flash?
No, because I had watched all the DC animated universe stuff and then the DC direct-to-video movies, but this is my first opportunity to get to know Barry Allen because the DC animated universe was Wally West.
That's right. I always forget that. I just
Yeah.
always remember the Flash as being that character from the Justice League cartoon. Because that's kind of my introduction to DC as a whole. As I'm sure it's as many.
I just want to say that the music for this show is amazing.
I
Mhm.
agree. I really love the music, especially I really love the opening title music.
It's great.
Yeah.
Red, what's your history with the Flash?
Uh, I think I I know him from Justice League. I didn't really know the character at all until this show. He was always one of those Justice League characters who just kind of existed because I knew he had his own, sphere of the DC universe. But I'm really more of just a Batman guy. And JSA.
I was too.
Aren't we all?
But I've tried to branch out. Like I just got the first volume of Wade's run, and probably gonna get more of this stuff because I like his pantheon of villains and stuff like that. I think the universe is great. The show introduced me to a lot of characters that were really cool. Just need to actually commit and get that stuff.
This show made the Flash DC's number 4 character. The first 3 obviously being the Trinity, but this show is so popular that it brought the Flash up. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Flash meets Law and Order. My mom actually thought I was watching Law and Order when she saw this stuff. And like, oh, Law and Order.
I love Jesse L. Martin.
The idea that because the guy who's going to be the fastest person in the world is always late. I like that idea.
I do too. It gets a little bit cliche when the moral of the story is that Barry just needs to slow down,
Yeah,
and that gets annoying. But I think that him being always late before he gets his super speed is always a fun irony about him.
yeah. And
So
here's-
this thing.
yeah.
Yep. I get the idea of not necessarily doing the effect, because that's a little too Sherlock. I would have just used it, but I understand why people wouldn't necessarily want to keep doing that. But the idea, at least, really should have continued.
Yeah. So I just want to mention that the guy he took the pen from is Chire, and he's a really big supporting cast character when we get Wally West as the Flash and Jeff Johns' run. And unfortunately, because this is an alternate timeline, he ends up passing away when Clyde Martin shoots him later on in the episode, which sucks.
So just like Arrow's pilot, we killed off a major character. In that case,
Yep.
What's his face? Constantine Dracon.
Or Batman versus Superman.
Don't even. It's on a whole nother level.
Someone's phone's going off in the background.
I
I'm
have
sorry.
to point this out. Is Iris a bit more energetic this episode? Or is that just me?
She gets energetic
Yes,
when she
but
has like the ability to guilt trip someone.
That's true. To say this, I'm going to point this out. I don't hate Iris. I actually learned I like the actress. I grow to hate her later on, especially when anything is done with her and Eddie.
I don't. Oh, okay, so this part where he's explaining Harrison Wells is fantastic because it's really the reverse Flash, and that's the great irony of it. But we'll get to that when we meet Harrison Wells. But I think that because Barry goes into a coma for 9 months, and we know from later episodes that Iris subconsciously has these feelings for Barry, him being in a coma for 9 months means he's gone, and that her subconscious sort of needs aren't met. So it makes sense to me that she would start dating somebody. So her and Eddie dating isn't a problem inherently until we try to build out their relationship, and then that's where we get problems because it's just typical CW melodrama.
Yeah.
Especially the episode where the Atom comes in and Iris and Eddie argued that one time.
So, here's a question. Where does the pilot happen after Three Ghosts? Because I watched Three Ghosts.
No.
This takes place like right. Well, this right here is right after he gets back.
Yeah, this scene where they go to Star Labs is right after he gets back. So the first couple scenes we got is before he goes to Star City. Now he's gone and come back and had this adventure, and then he's talking to Iris about, hey, let's like date, man, without actually saying that. And then here we are.
Oh, okay. Because I watched The Scientist and Three Ghosts beforehand, so wasn't sure where the timelines met up.
It is kind of confusing.
Because I saw the last episode, because the last scene in that episode Three Ghosts was the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they try to address how Barry and Iris being together is somewhat incestuous right here. I love Joe, but I don't know, man. That always bugs me about this show is that they're like brother and sister.
I would like if they played it more like she was more of a friend to her, but they're a little more. The way it's portrayed, they're a lot closer than that. Yeah. So I can understand the issues people would have with that, and I agree it is a bit weird.
The thing is, you have to actually, put in effort to make that work. Otherwise, it is creepy, and you can. That can be done. The problem is, I don't think they actually do put in the effort.
Yeah, I agree.
So the last thing that we hear Harrison Wells say in his speech is, "Trust me, the future will be here faster than you think." So his character motivation throughout the entire season is spelled out within his first 10 minutes of dialogue. That is great writing.
I love the actor they got for Barry Allen, by the way. He's like a nice.
Yeah, right.
Grant Gustin is so great.
Have they done the musical episode yet?
For the most recent season, yeah. Also, I like the fact that Barry tries to just ask the guy nicely. That's such a Barry Allen thing.
Yeah, that is classic Barry Allen. I love it. Wally would be like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna beat you up and then give this moral lesson." Barry Allen is the type of Flash to give people a chance.
Probably humiliate him publicly.
Yeah.
Wait, what Flash is the DC Extended Universe Flash? Which one are we using?
Barry.
Oh, okay. So we got two Barrys in the same one.
Yeah, that's when they announced it was going to be Barry. Everybody was like Grant Gustin for Flash, and then they cast Ezra Miller, and then we have the Grant versus Ezra debate, and that is like split apart the Flash fandom on social media.
Ezra. I love the fact his name's Ezra. So many Rebels jokes have probably been made.
This actress they have for Linda Park right here looks a lot older than what she should be, considering Wally West is probably like 21 right now.
Oh, is that Linda Park on the
Well, yeah, we have 3 Linda Parks in this show. That's the thing. Because we had one in Arrow, season 1.
Oh.
Because there was a Linda Park in season 1 of Arrow who looks like she's 40. Then there's this one who's like 30. And then there's the one who we get later.
Who's the hip, young, fun, in her 20s one.
Yep. It's
That's great.
Smallville and Jimmy Olsen.
And the actor they got for Shire isn't a bad actor. I just wish they gave him more to do. But again, I just wish after watching through this show in real time, we're in season 3 at the date of this recording. I just wish we got more of the original timeline of Earth 1. Because we know so little about it, and presuming that the particle accelerator wouldn't go off until 2020 instead of 2013 when it happens in continuity in the show, maybe Shire would be alive. And I like Shire.
Honestly, they should spend in that original timeline.
You know,
that's what I thought Flashpoint was going to be.
Yeah, that would have been a much better approach to that than one episode.
You know you're going to get convoluted when you start adding timelines, and I'm a Doctor Who fan.
Ooh, we can even do a whole video about that, because I've, mapped this whole thing out.
Oh, God.
Well, if it's anything like the way I map up the Dalek timeline in Doctor Who, then that's going to be fun.
Oh, and there's the plank down in there. We'll create our first metahuman.
Mm-hmm.
The first two metahumans.
I love all the chemicals rising up like they do in that flashback with his mom. Right in this moment, when you see that scene and you go back and watch it, you know that he knows something's about to happen.
I don't know if we're going to do the whole idea of him being the lightning or whatever from, what was it, Flash Rebirth?
That was actually in a story in the 90s, I think, that expanded on what happened to him after Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Nice.
Or actually, no, that was in Rebirth. Sorry. They introduced it in Rebirth in the 90s and then went back to it in the original Flash Rebirth.
So, I actually knew something Flash did. Yay.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up something from a historical context, because I love history. That one of the big things about Flash that I remember people talking about, I remember a discussion Ian and Steve were having a couple years back about the Flash, is that the Flash was one of the first DC things in live action in a while that was a lot more lighthearted and, I guess, lack of a better term, I can think of, whimsical, compared to, Arrow, which was kind of basically Nolan Batman, but with Arrow. And this is a lot more, let's just do some goofy stuff. So I just thought that was something about the show that I found interesting.
The Flash, this TV show embraces its roots in the first season way more than any other CW show.
Probably,
because the Flash is well, Barry Allen particularly is so Silver Age, and that makes sense because Barry Allen was the character who started and ended Silver Age with his introduction and then death in Crisis.
Right, I remember people saying, oh, this is DC finally moving away from the Nolan verse, and then we got Snyderverse, and that's a whole nother monster.
Barry telling Thawne Wells that he's always wanted to meet him face to face must feel so weird for him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And now I finally know how that name is pronounced.
Eobard Thawne?
Yeah. Thawne.
Yeah.
I love this Easter egg.
Oh yeah, the Grodd.
That was the big thing when we first saw this.
Yeah. Dude, I wish they would have shown us, like, Barry rebuilding Star Labs with the team in Season 1. That really would have solidified their bonds more.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see here it's destroyed, and then in the next couple episodes it's just automatically rebuilt. Like, what happened? I don't know.
And how do they even have funding?
Yeah, good point.
A lot of contractors.
Well, that's the thing too, and that's the conceit is they're able to keep this place running, and we don't know how they get there.
Ooh.
And that's I don't know how that, and that's across at least a season and a half from where I stopped.
As somebody who wants to defend Fawn Wells' plan in this season, I'm going to say that he has built up a massive fortune independent of Star Labs up until this point because he knows what's going to happen.
I don't know, I could probably buy that. He seems like the kind of guy who has control.
But again, we're not shown that.
Yeah.
We're not told that.
Oh yeah, I agree.
In universe, he seems like a good actor. Maybe he's been doing that.
So when they let Barry leave, he's wearing the Star Labs thing, and then when he meets Iris, he's in a new wardrobe, and then when he comes back, he's in the Star Labs thing.
I love that line. Yeah, keep the sweatshirt.
Well, can't he, like, change his clothes based on his powers?
He doesn't have his powers yet.
Maybe he did it subconsciously and just didn't realize. It could happen.
He immediately goes to Iris, too. Not Joe, not anybody at the police station. Oh man, that's so great. I wish, knowing where they go in Season 3, I like seeing this more hopeful, optimistic stuff with Barry and Iris.
You sound like how I do when I talk about a show I like called Once Upon a Time. It's just like you can just see, oh, this used to be good.
It's like going back to Arrow.
Exactly. And just like Arrow and Flash, Once Upon a Time is also getting a musical, so I'm very happy right now.
So, something that the TV show has done to show his speed is use the lightning effect, not have that like Silver Age speed trail, but show the lightning. And so the lightning is the human body processing the Speed Force. It's a byproduct. And so it makes sense that you would have more lightning and like colored lightning the faster you get. So these first couple of times he uses speed, there's not a lot of lightning, if at all. And that's just a nice little touch that he doesn't immediately have this like energy radiating off of him.
I have the power. Nope.
Oh no.
What's that, Cole? You're cutting off a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Is the human we're fighting in this episode a comic book character?
Weather Wizard, yes.
Yeah.
It's Clyde Martin. The main Weather Wizard in the comics is Mark Martin, and we get to him eventually on the TV show too. And coincidentally, both versions of Clyde in the comics die, but for different reasons. And then we get Mark as the Weather Wizard. And Shire is dead. Sigh.
You'll never forget.
That's Barry actually reacting to a fellow cop dying, because that will never happen again.
Fine. I just need some air. I'll call you tonight, all right?
Why is it just his hand? I mean, maybe it's like spasms all over his body, but I don't know.
Maybe he's having a cramp in his hand.
If you guys notice, his shoes are dark red with bright yellow laces. Bright yellow laces.
I can that. That's a cool touch. Never did.
You should be paying for that car. Just broke a public
It's
property.
taxpayer dollars.
Public property.
It's great how Barry sort of gets a handle on it, how on powers right away, because that's another thing that we don't really see. The biggest problem with Barry in the first season is that whenever he decides to do something, or test out a new power, it's because somebody else tells him how to do it or what to do. And Jay Garrick, something you pointed out, Joel, is that the Flash has been around for a really long time. The first Flash, Jay Garrick, was introduced in 1940, and when they revamped it in the 50s with Barry Allen, they made him a scientist so he could use this knowledge of physics and biology and chemistry to use his super speed in ways that Jay Garrick, who was a dumb jock who got super speed, couldn't. But
Wasn't Jay also a scientist?
no, he was just doing a lab experiment for a class. He was a football star, and he originally used his speed to be good at football.
Oh, yeah, I always forget because he runs a lab in the All-American comics?
Yeah, they
All-Star
changed it.
Comics.
They changed it as time went on, but he was originally a football star. So they missed a lot of opportunities with Barry Allen figuring out his own powers. But I will say, superheroes having teams surrounding them has been a staple of most superhero things in the modern era. I would say that it makes more sense in a show like Flash than Arrow because, again, we have Thawne leading this team, and he chooses these people to accelerate them into the future roles that they have. So it makes sense that we have a team of potential heroes and villains in the future.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be... what wasn't there a line later where he says, "I look forward to you both winning your Nobel Prizes"?
Yep. And then he has another
in the
line
eye.
later. He's like, "Your lives are better because of me."
How
Yeah.
often does Barry run during the day? Anybody know that?
Oh, what was your
Sorry,
question?
what?
Anybody know how often Barry runs during the day? 'Cause I can't remember from the first season if he runs more in the night or during the day.
I'm not sure.
I remember more about that.
I feel like he would knock down more of those barrels.
Yeah, I do too.
When I saw the little costume there in when he was having the flashback, the blink and you'll miss it.
You see, part of the fun of this first season for me is that I learned about the history of the Reverse Flashes because I knew about the Flash, but not about the Reverse Flashes. And it makes sense that that character is such a focal point of this season, and that I was learning about it as we go because I've said from the beginning that the Reverse Flash is the best thing about the show from day one.
I agree. He's the most fascinating part of it too.
And the thing is that he's pretty much like this type of story is an original creation. They pull some things from Mark Waid's Once in a Future Flash, but Thawne being trapped in the past and having to create the Flash is brilliant. And we're getting the scene right now where Barry's going to explain to them what happened, and then he's going to tell Barry, when Barry asks if there's anybody else like him with his powers, he says, I think his line is, "I can say unequivocally that you are one of a kind, Barry." And that's so great knowing the history that he has with him. And the irony is so amazing with his arc in season 1 because Thawne is having to instill the character traits in Barry Allen that his future self will hate when they battle in the future. But he does this just by trying to teach him how to be the Flash. He doesn't try to make him into the person that he's going to hate, but he ends up having this love for him and pride with him.
The villain creates the hero, and vice versa.
The reverse legacy is great.
Tom Cavanaugh's performance when Barry's telling them this is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are one of a kind. Man, Tom Cavanaugh is such a brilliant actor as well. And fun fact, Tom Cavanaugh actually only signed on to do season one. He was only doing it as a favor for them, but everybody loved him so much that halfway through writing the first half of the season, they said, "Oh, the Reverse Flash actually doesn't look like Harrison Wells. Harrison Wells is a separate person, and we're going to do him in the multiverse in the next couple seasons." So they could create this way for Tom Cavanaugh to be a series regular because everybody loved him.
Those are the little tidbits are always so cool.
I wish we could get him as Reverse Flash again.
I would love to see Tom Cavanaugh as Reverse Flash. Because I like you thought Thawne's actor okay, but not as Tom Cavanaugh.
I think part of it is the material that Matt Letscher has been given isn't as good, but everybody says that Matt Letscher looks like Thawne from the comics, which he does, but Tom Cavanaugh is a better actor regardless. Why is Clyde looking out the window like that?
I want to be dramatic.
How does he get into the car right here?
I guess leapt through the window and then landed in the opposite direction.
He jumped through the window at a higher speed, maybe.
Then had to adjust himself when he was getting in the seat.
I love that Barry just instinctively tries to stop this criminal. That just shows how much of a cop he is. Now that he's given like a means to stop this guy.
It's the smoke monster from Lost.
There might be a lot of Hugo Strange right here with the constant fog to escape. Because that was Hugo's first villain scheme, was a bunch of fog machines that allowed him to rob banks.
Some of that green screen is kind of shoddy, but the running, oddly enough, looks really good.
This scene right here with Joe is great.
And I told you, when you see danger, you run the other way. You're not a cop.
Because they wouldn't let me.
You're damn right. Joe, I need to talk to you. I can wait till now.
They walk 5 feet away from Iris. I don't know if she can hear this.
Yeah.
It's a TV show. As long as you're slightly away from them.
I would love to see like the camera just pan back and say, "We gotta talk in private," and they just move like 5 feet, and you just see her just standing right there. No camera angles.
This is something. Sorry, go ahead.
I like how they portray Joe as being kind of closed-minded to all this, and it makes sense. And I like how that doesn't completely go away throughout the rest of the season. We see him, especially in regards to Iris, sometimes that he still retains some of this ideal.
Mm-hmm.
It was your brain helping a scared little boy accept what he saw. My dad did not murder. Yes, he did. Your dad killed your mother.
See, this is the thing about Barry Allen. He cares about reforming the law from within, but he also cares about honesty above anything else. So I understand that it's a trope in TV where everybody has to lie to each other and keep secrets, but Barry Allen should be the guy who says, no, we can't do this. Like, we know that the impossible is out here. We need to be as honest as possible. And this scene where he walks off to go and prove himself regardless of people not believing him is wonderful. So when he walks into Star Labs, he walks in for the place where the suit goes.
There was no residual danger. But that's not true. So what really happened that night?
Active. We all felt like heroes. And went wrong. Intentional barrier.
What do you guys think about Caitlin and Cisco in these first couple episodes?
Fine.
They're so.
Everybody says,
They're
I
there.
don't hate Cisco the way Duke does, but he can get on my nerves more recently than normal. Caitlyn has the problem of every single moment is just horrible for her, and her life keeps being hell, and it's kind of just like, we get it. That character's life's supposed to be god-awful. But in the first season, just okay, they're kind of just background people. I think they developed their friendship effectively.
Yeah, and I think that it was smart to develop their friendship before their powers.
Yeah.
What's important is you.
I think that Caitlyn's arc in this first season makes more sense than anything else. It's when we get to later seasons that we just rinse and repeat.
And then you broke your arm, and it healed in 3 hours. Inside your body could be a map to a whole new world: genetic therapies, vaccines, medicines.
See, Thornwells isn't wrong here when talking about the medical advancements that could be made. And I wish that after season 1, when he's no longer around on a regular basis, that Barry would maybe take what he said into consideration and try to do these things. But Thawne is playing his cards really well here.
Mm-hmm.
He needs Barry to get to a certain point. He needs him to get fast enough to break the space-time barrier. He doesn't want him to be the Flash. He hates the Flash. So when he says, you're not a hero, you're just a man who was struck by lightning, he's trying to influence Barry to not reach his full potential here. He doesn't want that. But it's so funny that Barry does anyway, because in the original timeline, when Thawne didn't kill his mother, he reached that full potential, and not even taking away Barry's parents can change him. And not even that pressure from Thawne to not be a hero can change him either.
Who let the little kid walk into the freaking crime scene and take the tarp off the body? That always bothered me. There is no way in hell that would be able to happen. Just like, never.
I like how you I like that he goes to Oliver here.
Yeah, the narration coming full circle is nice. I just don't like how they use it in every episode but this one.
On this scene, it works here. It does not make sense in Arrow. At all. Like, where Oliver is in this episode just does not make sense. And season 3 of Arrow.
Huh.
It's like peering into hell.
Screw up. What if Wells is right? What if I'm not a hero? What if I'm just some guy who was...
I do like that Barry and Ollie kind of have the Ollie and Hal relationship in a way.
See, I always thought of the Arrow versus Superman as Barry Allen, and the Arrow versus Batman as Oliver Queen. That's the dichotomy that I felt like they were trying to build, and I think that it works on that level. I just don't like how Oliver Queen is turned into Batman when that's not Oliver Queen in the comics, even though the Flash is more of a superhero character than anything. I don't see why Barry just doesn't call himself the Flash from the beginning after that line.
Yeah.
Wear a mask.
I like the mask line.
I did too.
But again, Oliver's like smiling after he nearly got blown up and Felicity's in the hospital. And Vertigo is back on the streets. It's like, he's not really in a good place at this point.
Oh yeah, this is season 3 of Arrow. I forgot about that.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
I'm not blaming you. I know you didn't
I
mean
have-
to hurt you. I know you all. But I need your help to catch Martin.
What did Cisco lose exactly when the particle accelerator went off, other than his career?
If we're gonna do this,
I mean, we come up with a good thing later, but yeah, at this point.
something I've been playing with.
I don't like how the
when-
first suit
when they
has the
reveal-
lightning on it. Sorry.
Well, wait, it has lightning on it? Oh, it does.
The yellow. I mean, like, they have to do that to be practical, but I just wish that the lightning in the comics has a much more symbolic relevance to Barry and Wally. Because Jay Garrick started out with a big lightning bolt, and then Barry shrunk it down and added the white circle around it because he felt that the lightning gave him unity in his life. So I wish that we started out with like a blank red suit, and that Barry added all the lightning insignias. Because Cisco at the end adds the lightning symbol, like the actual Flash symbol, and he's like, "Oh, it's lightning because it's cool." Like, no.
Mm-hmm. We keep having characters get their costumes by other people, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
On your feet, hands on your head. Yummy. Night of the storm, after starlight blue. After all plane went down, and I walked on the ground alive. When I saw what I could do, I understood.
Here we get the beginning of the villain.
Yep.
Get around.
And mine's kind of just a nothing character in this episode. And that is the best line in the episode.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that somebody who is one of the first people, if not the first in the world to get powers, would think of themselves as a god.
Yeah, because we haven't seen any other movies at this point. So
I mean, this was the only time metahumans were created in this universe, except for freaking Finn and Arrow Season 3 that has never come back, which is Laserbeam Eye guy, who was not here, who has powers, and it's a whole thing where metahumans don't necessarily come from the particle accelerator, and it's never brought up again.
right.
Seriously, has anyone ever mentioned that since?
Nope. His name's Deathbolt, right? Doesn't he appear in episode 20 this season when all the
Yeah,
rogues
then he gets
break out?
killed.
Yeah. See, I like this where Barry figures out what to do.
It's like the one time he'll do this in the freaking series.
He does it in the finale, kind of.
Oh, and he does
But-
it again when he fights not what's his face, Zoom for the first time when he charges up the lightning.
Yep.
That was awesome
And-
because he actually
and
did it
when
on his own.
And when he runs fast enough to reach terminal velocity, right?
Mhm.
So then it's an even fight. But I guess giving him credit for the finale thing with the singularity is essentially the same thing as the tornado, but upside down and bigger and scarier, to quote his dialogue, so it's not really figuring out something new. It's just him still being Barry Allen after going through the whole thing with Thawne. And that just hammers home the point that through the first episode, all the way through the last episode of the season, that he's still Barry Allen, and that he still has to try to save people.
Many people have. And when I looked at you, I thought was another potential victim of my hubris, and yes, I created.
I love the Run Barry Run thing. I'm sorry. I know it's cheesy. I know it doesn't work sometimes, but I love it.
Oh, it's fantastic, especially because it's triggering something emotionally for Barry because that's what his dad said to him. And I love the fact that Wells was
Right.
in the room when that happened, so he knows what he's
Yeah,
doing. Everything is meticulous with this guy. He
That-
knows it will emotionally appeal to Barry.
that's a great. I didn't even think about that. Wells is in the room about to kill his mother when his dad tells him that. So, oh my, that's so cyclical then.
Yeah, it's just effed up how much he plans this stuff. Like, he planned that a month ahead of time. Or
Definitely.
since that day.
Well, that's a line we get later on. I think in like episode 6, where whoever killed your mom, if he's still here, he's been patient, like the scary kind of patient.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Thrawn and Thawne are the same character. Maybe I haven't been mixing them up. Twitter joke, people.
His name is Thawne.
I'm not like you. You're a murderer.
Why doesn't Barry just get up and? I mean, maybe he's like out of juice because we get that in the next episode. Like when he like runs out of runs out of fuel. I love that smile Caitlin has.
Yeah.
Barry is like the one glimmer of hope in her life. And this is the one time I will ship a relationship. Caitlin and Barry.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Oh, and this scene's fantastic.
My one beef with it is this. Because Barry Allen is a character who cares about honesty, he would not agree to lie to Iris. But Joe admitting he was wrong is nice. It's when Joe's like, I don't want Iris to know about this. That's that classic TV, everybody's got to keep secrets things.
Honestly, I kind of wish they had went the Wally West route and just to do something completely thinkable in a TV show, have him just tell his identity to the world the moment he becomes the Flash.
I'm with you on that, especially because I was writing a rewrite of main DC continuity where Wally West is the first Flash, and he has his identity revealed pretty early. So I'm with you on two of those choices. The only thing is, this came out in 2014. That's only 6 years after the first Iron Man film, and people would still say that, oh, they're doing the same thing as Iron Man. That's like the only thing that I could see being a problem with that.
John Wesley's ship.
Is that beard fake? Oh no, it's not. It's just really short and looks weird on him.
There is technically Jay Garrick, kind of, sort of.
I still can't understand what the hell is up with that.
Well, everybody from the beginning was saying that he should play like some version of Jay Garrick.
And then when it happened, everybody's like, wait a minute.
They screwed up Teddy Sears being Jay Garrick in the process, and Teddy Sears just looks like he's right out of the golden age, which is a missed opportunity. And actually, another flash fact, Rick Cosnett, the guy who plays Eddie, actually signed on to play a younger version of Jay Garrick, who would work with Barry Allen in the CSI lab. But then they changed what they were doing for the whole season to include the Reverse Flash, and so they created a new character to fit his role more. And they gave him some of the attributes of Hunter Zolomon in the comics, being like part of the police force, but they missed out on some of the magic of the comic Hunter Zolomon because he was a rogue profiler and really into psychology. And I wish we had done that with Eddie and given him more of a background outside of just being Iris's boyfriend.
Yeah, but we got Teddy Sears, Hunter Solomon. That was worth it.
Falser words have not been spoken. This is a great scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the dialogue about like, oh, I wanted you to change your name, I don't think that's something that Henry Allen would want, but I'm glad that Barry is affirming his father here. And now we'll get something similar in the DC Extended Universe.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll get a Flash film that can meet this level later on in the DC.
You need the director first.
Yeah.
My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive. We have that since episode 1, and I love it.
And that comes from Barry, right? Or was that started with Wally?
Wally.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Every good thing about the Flash, except for the first introductions of the Rogues, including Thawne, basically started with Wally. All the cool character motivations essentially started with Wally until you get to the modern era with Flash Rebirth.
That's not.
Now we got to talk about this scene that's going on right now.
Yep.
He can walk.
For those of you who don't know much about the Flash, Hunter Zolomon was actually in a wheelchair for a while. So there was potential for Harrison Wells to really be Hunter Zolomon in disguise as well. Red skies vanish. Love it.
I can't wait till we finally do Crisis.
If we do. They kind of did that at the end of season 2, right?
Did they do the Red Skies?
When Zoom did the multiverse portal thing.
Oh, yeah. But then
And
then they said something about Crisis Ends and Hawkgirl being involved, so I assume
Yeah.
not completely. The thing about Crisis, you could do that better than the original comic.
Definitely.
And with that, folks, that is our first commentary on The Flash, the pilot. Thanks everybody for joining us, and until next time, this has been the Imperial Hornet, and I'm saying CID123 saying goodbye.